Okay, so I guess the record has started, and I think I will start with some intro words while the girls are coming inside our Zoom room or starting to get more comfortable in order to listen to that, to what we're having today. And today we're having the another lecture for seniors, as we call them, for experienced female specialists. And the topic of this month, the topic of August, of July, I'm sorry, I'm already in August, you see. And the topic of July is PR, and we are asking the Russian speaking and English speaking experts, female leaders, to share their experience and to get to know more on them and on the tips and tricks and on their intro. And I'm happy to introduce to you Mary Glazkova, which has, I guess, a vast experience of everything that is going on in PR. And I think that the last but not least experience is that Mary was partially my colleague in the Untitled Ventures, in the venture fund. But okay, I will just give the floor to you to get the intro. And also Mary has done a bit of slides, which I was particularly impressed. So I guess like the floor is yours, and I will just have the latecomers come to Zoom, and all the people are starting to listen to you.
Thank you very much, Irina. Hi, girls. Very nice to see all of you. Yeah, sorry for the slides.
No. It's like very professional approach, I must say. And like the previous time, we were speaking about how some of the PR specialists are imagining each meeting as email, so as a text message, and you're imagining each meeting, I guess, as bunch of slides.
Yeah, I think it's really easier to to keep an eye on slides, well, not on the faces. Yeah, so that
Okay.
probably going to be easier.
So yeah,
Yes.
while you're starting, I'm also inspiring everyone to ask questions, and I will, I think, moderate the questions towards Mary and towards the tips and tricks.
Yeah, so shortly about me. Currently, I'm holding position at the venture fund, which is the Untitled. And yeah, I think a lot of you know it because of Irina. Also, I have a small boutique PR agency, and we help deep tech startups to meet global media. And previously, I've been working to different tech startups, tech companies. The last one was really a ride-hailing company. Before that was an AR developer based in Zurich. And another one was Silicon Valley-based startup, Trockerbot, which was sold to a Chinese company. You can see me in PR Week, in the Next Web, UK Tech News, and in Sifted previously. And my clients, you can see them in I don't know, maybe all the major tier one global media, such as TechCrunch, of course, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, etc., etc. Yeah, so Irina asked me what are the tips and tricks for startups who are going to conquer the global market. So bear in mind, this is for PR, for in-house PRs and for startup entrepreneurs. I would say that the major tip would be that you should not pay for PR. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Because of the early steps, when you have that's a small budget, you should think twice, because PR is something that usually is super expensive. Usual retainer in the UK would be something in between 5k pounds to, I don't know, 7-10 In United States, it's probably would be the same, something like 5K dollars to 10, 15 sometimes. It really depends on the PR agency, but most of them usually work with let's say more mature company, so they don't really give a damn if you're an early stage startup. They will charge you the same as you were I don't know, like a unicorn or whatever. So yeah, bearing this in mind, what you can do instead of that, you can do PR in-house yourself. Keep in mind that all your PR activities and your PR strategy should be strongly tied to your business goals. So doing meaningful conversation online, starting your personal blog, your corporate blog like on Medium, and doing newsletters and all these kind of things probably would be more effective instead of pitching BBC, Hasselblad, and other media. So firstly, first determine your business goals, and once you understand that as a CEO or as a founder or as in-house PR, you met a really serious task, like I don't know, like a product launch on several markets at the same moment, or you want to announce something really huge. I don't know, like you have million customers, or you have received a huge round of investments. When in this case, you might think of I don't know, either it could be a PR agency or it could be like a PR person who has great experience in these kind of things. So once again, communicate your company values instead of claiming that you're the best startup on the market and you have no competitors. Do content marketing, do corporate blogs, do newsletters, do social media. Don't spam your potential partners and customers with ads and different messages on LinkedIn trying to sell your product. And of course, build relationships with journalists instead of pitching them occasionally with meaningless press releases saying that you have a new design, that you have think of something new and you're gonna launch it soon, and all this kind of thing. Yeah, so Irina, do you want me to?
Yeah, I think that I'm giving all the speech that you have prepared, and then we're, I guess, getting into the specific questions, because I already have in mind a couple of them.
Cool.
Like in order to without slides, speak without slides. I think that it would be much better.
Yeah. So while you're working on PR for a startup or for a company, you might think about building your own personal brand. Why should you do that? I think that it's not only elevating your credibility and advancing your career, it's also might help you in the future if you decide to move to another country, like to the United Kingdom or United States, because they have this kind of visa which benefits aliens of extraordinary abilities. And also, if you decide to go to university for master's or MBA, also when you apply, when you submit, you need to prove that you're an as outstanding character, and your articles could be found all over the internet. So doing this, keep in mind that you need to have your role determined very clearly, and you're gonna ask all the reporters, all the editors, to keep your name, surname, and your role. So once you apply for a visa or to a university program, you should have all these PDF with all your credits.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's keep
yeah.
now the part of men and women in PR. Well, I suggest like going back to the step zero of the startup. So there are, I don't know, 2-3 people working on startup, founders only, for example, and they are launching the main product, maybe MVP. How, like, what do you suggest, like, doing on probably the local market, right? I mean, speaking about Eastern Europe and Russia in particular, and doing probably on the global market if the product they want to launch is already global. And do you suggest, for example, also like basing on your experience using the personal brands of the founders in general, or only if they are experts in something, then to use them, like not to build them just now?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's a really common question. So the difference between launching your product on your local market and on the global market, this is that you're probably would be much of interest to your local media and your local customers, because of all this heritage and because they know, I don't know, because they know the university you graduated from, and they are your friends and these kind of things. This is absolutely,
the background.
yeah, the background. This is absolutely the same for UK-based entrepreneur or United States entrepreneur. Yeah, but because of the markets, because it's bigger on the West, and because there are much more media journalists on the West, so yeah, it's really easier to build your reputation, to build your first early adopters around your product, around your service. But of course, want to get all the advantages of the local market, and of course, using your brand as an entrepreneur, as a founder, and all media journalists, they would appreciate if a founder contacts them directly, not another PR person. But on the global market, it's really easier to build these relationships with the help of a PR representative who has already built these kind of relationships. Because for instance, I don't know, like TechCrunch or any other media journalist, they usually receive around 300 to 1,000 pitches per day. It's really enormous number of messages. So it's really, I don't know, I think it's really impossible to go through all of them, reading each of them from the beginning to the end. So if they see that that an email came from a PR guy or girl who they knew, so it's somehow, it's, yeah, that's why it's easier. Because if you're gonna do it on your own, you're gonna be one of the 1,000 unknown, unnamed startup guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask, like, probably the startup doesn't need to go global, and to, as you said, be based on some local background, build a local story, and then only step up and say, okay, we made it, like, on the Russian, Belarusian, Ukrainian, Estonian, etc. market, and then we are like definitely want to move and not to be, is it also a point like where you are not one of 1,000, or there are also 1,000 of going from local to global?
This is your success on the Eastern European market really doesn't bother them at all. They write stories about the market they are based in. So if you're a UK-based journalist, you really doesn't give a damn about a startup successfully launched in Ukraine or Belarus. They really don't care about that. So that's why that's why sometimes it's really easier to start your story on the global market from the story of your fundraising, because this is like a proof for a journalist that some angel investors or some VCs believed in this startup. So this might be of interest. This might be a next big thing. So they keep an eye on a startup which has received money from the third parties. And
so you mean like going to the media with the announce of some sum of money being raised, right?
Yeah, correct.
Not raising, not like
no,
we're
no.
looking for. Okay. Well,
no.
Yeah,
everybody's raising. This is
yeah, everybody's raising sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, then also like the question to the startup probably that is already stage A, like it has already had like proven track, right? Received the money, received the traction, etc. But everything that they received is in the, let's say, rubles or grivnas or whatsoever. And I think in the investor world, you only have revenue in euros when it's really in euros, not when you convert it from rubles to euros. Is it also the same in the PR world? So the only like local revenue in that currency matters, and
only
local investments.
Only local activities, yeah, are considered. Nothing, especially in the UK, this is like the island in
In the
it's an
culture
island.
sense.
Yeah, it's an island, and it's in an island. They do think like they live on the island. They don't care about the rest of the world. Of course, it's not really true, because if it's a successful startup from the United States launching in the UK, it's really a different story than an Eastern European startup is launching in the UK, because this is considered to be Western market, the UK, the US, but the rest of the world is really the rest of the world. They don't care about that. So yeah, so journalists from, let's say, from San Francisco, he or she would be interested in a company which has any kind of results on that market. Either you have a lot of subscribers, a lot of customers, or your I don't know, or your revenue is growing rocket high, or you have took the market by storm, something like that. This is going to be really interesting. But if you're a hardware startup on your early stages entering the market, and you have zero fundraising, you have zero customers, you have zero partners, this is like, okay, even if it's like a breakthrough technology, your success is really depends on the team, if it's capable on growing the company, and on your abilities to grow a startup. So they probably, if it's really something really interesting, they will keep an eye on you, but it's not gonna result in a Bloomberg article straight away.
You are always mentioning, I mean, yeah, that's normal, because you spend most of the working hours among the UK projects, activities, and so on. But I want also to mention one. For me, it is a success case, because I'm not a PR specialist. I don't know how many efforts you need to, but for me, is in the startup world, it is like you got the startup Wayray up to the Web Summit, and I think like it was the main stage, and like thousands of people in front of which Vitaly was performing. How did you do that? was it like the matter of the whole system, and it was just the result of all these activities? All it was planned tactics?
Yeah, it was, yes, step by step. Of course, it's a strategy. So you begin with tier two media, then you go to CS showcasing the product, demoing it to the journalists, to the media, and then after you have money from Alibaba. Yeah, so you just uh, sit down and write a speech saying like, hey, we've been to CS, we raised money from Alibaba. Vitaly is a standing entrepreneur based in Zurich, not in Moscow.
Yeah,
But yes,
okay.
R&D in Moscow, we did say that. We did not say anything that was not true. So yeah, this is a compelling story. Like a guy in his early, he was like 30 years old then, or even 29. So yeah, this is a compelling story. This is something you want to see. And they invested a lot in design. So this was, I think this is really one of the startups with the great visuals, and media guys, they do love that. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
still think that Vitaly is more of an artist, actually.
Yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
personal opinion, not this operations manager or like artist visionary, something like that.
Yeah,
But
the
you
word.
mentioned top the second tier media that you have started. What are they in the startup world, and like, or how to even define, like, what do you mean by second? Because this is probably the question for newcomers or for the people who are not in PR. That's why I'm asking, like, how to probably the founder of the startup that is listening now or will be later will understand, okay, so step one, finding second tier media and going to them, and I mean nurturing them. So how does one define it?
Yeah, so there's no common rule for that. Probably for some kind of startup, a small blog, writing only about children technology will be tier one media, because they have the right audience, target audience of moms and dads who are interested in kids technology, to track their children. What are they doing in front of the laptops? What are they doing then they at school or somewhere? Yeah, so this will be like top priority for them. And Bloomberg article, of course, it's huge milestone for any startup in terms of PR, but it won't get them the results, the same results as this small blog. Yeah, because the audience is more broader. It's the general audience with the interest in technology, and a small percentage of this audience going to be interested in their product. So I would say that let's say that usually tier one media is a media with high DA, domain authority. Sometimes it's a small blog, and sometimes, of course, it's TechCrunch and Wall Street Journal. Tier two, the same. For for big company, it's going to be blogs, small blogs, and small media with lower DA, and but same somehow same audience, same interest. Yeah. So, but with Wayray, it wasn't like that. So we've met when they raised $18 million from Alibaba, and after that, we went to the first CS show.
Mm-hmm.
So was really like a success story from the very beginning. And after that, it really helped me to gain a lot of interest from the journalists, from the media. And so it was really easier. But with Willy, for instance, it was a completely different story. We started with the Evening Standard, and and probably not everybody knows that the Evening Standard is owned by Russians, by Russian oligarch. So for the United Kingdom, this is kind of paper that so they see a huge difference between, let's say, the Telegraph and the Evening Standard. But we did it to the Telegraph initially, eventually, and that was more by the books case, because we've started from the small media, and step by step we did it to the TechCrunch and Bloomberg.
When do you suggest startups taking on a classical approach, and when do you actually say, like, okay, let's be, I don't know, pirates and like go around?
Always
Yeah.
be pirates.
Always be pirates. Okay. Yeah, but you mentioned that Wheelie is like step by step. You can.
Yeah, because this is their brand. You know, they are classic. They are in suits. They are in Mercedeses. Yeah. So if you are doing an AR VR product, you shouldn't be doing like classic things and talking to media like you lord in the House of Parliament. Anyway, even if you're doing crazy stuff, the tools you're gonna use are all the same. This is identifying your business goals, identifying the best media contacts, building relationships, sending meaningful pitches, sharing your milestones. Don't be pushy. Nobody likes that. Don't follow ups every 3 or 5 days asking if your story was of interest. If your story was of interest, you will know like immediately, in a day, maximum 2. So for instance, I have a small startup based here in Miami. They do something like Grammarly plus Duolingo. So this is kind of AI-based writing assistant. So they were founded like 2 years ago. So this really early stage startup, and we met like a couple of months ago. And I started to pitch media based here in Miami, saying that, hey, there's a nice startup here in Miami, blah, blah, blah. So of course, zero interest. But I use a program so I can see that they opened the emails, the pitches, and this is how I tracked the interest from the media. So that was the first.
I'm sorry, this is Mailtrack that you use. So it's tips and tricks also for fundraising.
Yeah, usually this is like nobody talks about that. But everybody uses that. So the second pitch was with the product update, and the third one was that they got the first place on the product hunt, so they were called Startup of the Day, and this one was picked up by the Miami Herald. This is one of the major business newspaper here. So this is the third page, third milestone, and again, this is not a product update. This is not a, I don't know, not a topic for an interview, or this is not a news hijack, and this is again a proof gained from the third parties. So that's why they thought, okay, people on Product Hunt like the startup, so probably we can write something about that.
So it's like to be persistent, to keep on like doing what you are doing and showing the product metrics. So it's basically, yeah, the same thing as in investing, which makes me like go to another question. We all pronounce and say usually PR and communications. And also I saw like, for example, you and as an author in some articles, you are mentioned as PR and communications veteran. So what is the difference between PR and in general relations, right, that you are doing, and communications? Like, do you make it as a like
yeah,
two
it's a
different
difference.
things?
Yeah, it's a difference in that, because PR, this is stands for public relations, and it usually means that you help with building relationships with the media, while communications, this is a broader term, meaning that you're doing the work from the scratch. So you're working on the messaging, you're identifying the main messages that should be communicated then to the public, to the audience. So usually it's like 3 main points: that you're doing this product for this audience using this technology. And these 3 messages, bear in mind that they are the main messages. You are communicating and trying to use them in all the interviews, all articles, all pages, all press releases, newsletters, and any other channel. Also, communications means that you work with all the channels, but in all channels the communications are different, and you understand the difference between a newsletter and a social media post and a press release, while public relations is more about press releases and these kind of things.
And now I'm applying to the part of you as a veteran, because there is like a commonly used stereotype. I think it's not even a stereotype. I think it's true that PR is like sort of say like a nest for snakes. So there are like lots of there are lots of gossips and intrigues and these black PR campaigns.
For any kind of industry, it's really depends on people, and people are people.
Yeah, but probably because in your profession you have the word public, it goes public, it goes viral, and it goes like, you know, these I don't know, Telegram channels, Facebook groups, etc., etc. On the one hand, yes, okay, like everywhere there is like that. On the other hand, I think that once a person is stepping from being on the initial stage, I mean in PR, up to the next stage of being, for example, an independent PR consultant or creating your own agency, etc., there is strong like pushback inside the community towards these initiatives. Like, I don't know, people are always seeking for, especially I think it goes to women in PR. It goes like, okay, well, this is not true. She's not doing something. She's not doing anything. Actually, she's just sending press releases, and then it just goes, it blows, whatsoever. How you would comment on that on the first hand, on the one hand, and on the other hand, you have never been like considered to be a person with this disputable reputation inside. So how do you actually struggle towards your pure reputation? Let's say it like that.
Thank you. I don't know, it's really it should be kind of meditation, you know. You read all these posts and all the messages from people, oh, this is 3 a.m. and I'm still at work, something like that, you know. And you're just like, I don't know, you just try to keep calm and breathe and say, okay, I have my stuff to do, and you just switch your attention promote these things, because as I said, people being people, and of course sometimes there are things that trigger me a lot, but yeah, this is just okay. I have my own things to do. There was one case when I posted on Facebook that another girl was stealing my work, because it was like I met 3 different journalists, and all of them the same thing, that this was not your work, while I was sure that I haven't lost my mind, and I perfectly remember me doing that kind of things. So yeah, and I posted on Facebook, and I think that was a good exercise for me, because I saw how far did it go, and I didn't really like that, because everything is on Google forever, and you really, when you grow up, you really don't want to see all these kind of things. And for instance, sometimes then people writing stuff about PRs, and they can Google these kind of things. And I saw a couple of times that, like, Mary Glazkova, who is la 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 la, and also like 5 years ago she wrote on her Facebook. Wow.
What an investigation. Can you imagine 5 years ago, like actually doing the scroll down?
Yes, she accused your colleague of stealing her work, and her colleague said, no, I didn't do that. So
I think probably it's also the part when a professional becomes personal, and this is like an poisonous mixture.
Yeah, it's really good to have all this kind of life-work balance and harmony, and do yoga in the morning. Yeah, but anyway, people still people. So don't do that. Don't post on Facebook or on your Telegram channel any nasty things about your colleagues or about people you met, because you know nothing about what a person goes through at the moment. So just mind your own business and do their own stuff.
Actually, that comes to another question. Since public relations and communications are considered to be so, like, there is a necessity to be trendy. Once you are looking back, like 3 years ago, how you did things 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I mean, in general, or probably by chance you meet some of the results of the work. Do you regret sometimes doing something? I mean, professionally, I mean, like saying, we were so immature in doing so, and I don't know, we shouldn't have done that, or something like that.
I still do that, because I work with early stage companies, and sometimes they have things changing. One day they say one thing, the next day it's opposite, and you've already sent the media memo over press release. It was the same with the Untitled, because they raised initially we raised 75. And on Monday, I started pitching, and it was 100. so I had to go back and do the whole work from the beginning, say, I'm so sorry, this is not 75, this is 100 now. And
what are your tips and tricks to say that you are sorry and there has been a mistake or something changed? Like you're
fine. Yeah, everybody does mistakes, and journalists do mistakes because they broke my embargo. They use startups published. So for instance, I started pitching like on Wednesday, saying that this story is embargoed, and embargo time is Monday. So they posted on Wednesday. And they sent me a link saying, hey, the news are live, and you can see the story on our media website. And I said, wow, thank you. But please kill it right now, immediately. So first time they posted on Wednesday, and embargo time was like Monday 12 p.m. and they posted on Monday 10 a.m. I was like, please, not again. And it was like 4 a.m. in the morning here, and I was devastated, and it was really, really so stressful and annoying at the same time. So I texted to Butcher from TechCrunch and to tag you, saying that sorry, those guys broke the embargo, but I'm trying to kill the article, so please please keep calm. Yeah, and what is funny, then you have these kind of strong relationships with the media. They were all like, oh, that's fine, Mary, don't be so stressed, they are trying to do their best, they just did a mistake, don't be so angry.
I guess they also said that to you because you are already inside. So for example, with a Butcher or with a leading journalist from the startup scene, you are already sort of getting on very well. So you have certain type of reputation, and it's not like a newcomer coming and forgetting about saying about embargo, right, etc. So, but yeah, anyways, like your job is full of saying sorry and apologizing for something that you are not even responsible
all the
for.
time. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the same with the way, Ray, when we announced that this 80 million round A, CNET broke the embargo. So the guy was based somewhere in India, and he just messed up with the time, and he posted like 4 hours earlier than it was embargoed, and we lost Wall Street Journal because of that. Yeah, and TechCrunch posted like 2 days later. Yeah, so anyway, things happen.
Yeah, and especially
so, yeah,
with time zones. I know myself. I guess I know the girls that are here, where we can always mess up with the time. Actually, like with this, CAT.
Yeah. This is another tip when you do global PR, when you do global announcement, targeting 3-4 different markets, or if you have a press release embargoed, let's say it's 12 p.m. in New York, so it's another time in London and another time in Moscow, and in Paris again it's another time. So when you approach the media, you should say them they are local time. So you can say, for instance, if you're based in London, you can send 2 times. You can say 12 p.m. in London, and this is what is going to be in your location. So just try to help journalists do their work.
Yeah, less calculations, more efficiency. Yeah. Well, we have a bit of time, and I want to ask you about, like, but without slides, what is the difference between men and women in PR? There are lots of women in PR. I think it's more even actually this positive discrimination towards them. What do you see the differences of gender behavior, or maybe some patterns that they are in your industry?
My slide was actually about the salary because you asked about this positive things, but yeah, so according so it was something like 115K for men and 100 for women.
Yeah, well, 15K difference. That makes what, 20% almost.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, and I really don't see any other difference. I mean, you can say that there are much more women in PR than men, and somehow it's considered to be women part because I think it's based on the opinion that women are better in doing relationships of any kind, building relationships between from different, I don't know, from different positions to different peers inside the company, outside the company, company with third parties, etc., etc. While men are considered to be like more straightforward. say when they say things, they say what they mean. I don't
You
think
also
that's
follow. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I don't think that's true. I'm pretty much straightforward because I'm Russian, and I don't really have this kind of character, you know, like in London. Yeah, they sometimes I really surprise them by saying things that is really usual for any Russian type of person. Um, yeah, but anyway, this is true. There are still more women in PR than men.
Yeah, yeah. I also have noticed that not just on the local markets, but globally. So I guess
Yeah,
it's more
globally. Yeah.
more a human thing. But on the other hand, there is GR, so government relations, and I think there are more men actually than women in there. Even though I don't know, I think that probably there is just a bit more of following the rules and the principles and the protocol rather than nurturing contacts, being likable, something like that. Like
Yeah,
less
maybe.
soft
And
skills.
yeah, soft skills. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, probably also sometimes there are more men in politics, and it's easier for them to delegate some kind of stuff to women and say something like, hey, deal with him, deal with her, do something about this article, do something about this interview, I don't want to give this interview to this media, etc. And then they delegate in other kind of things to men, you know, something like building relationship with uh, difficult difficult politicians and things like that.
Okay, well, but also like one last part of the question is towards probably some recommendations on the ones actually who are the experienced ladies uh, who, for example, work in the agencies or independently, and they think that they reached some kind of plateau, right? There is always a plateau anywhere. Um, so from what I heard from you is that like be straightforward and be assertive and to move forward no matter what, but maybe some kind of motivation that these girls on the plateau can follow in order to in some time reach another level, and so on. Like, I mean, probably going from local to global, etc.
You can go from local to global. You can go from PR to marketing. You can go from classical PR to digital PR. You can go wherever you want to go. You can be an artist and a singer.
So you
Yeah.
so you suggest like actually thinking horizontally, like expansionally. Like if you have a plateau on one part of your life, let's say, you can look into the other and
Yeah, because yeah, thinking inside a company, you can go from PR manager to VP of PR and comms or chief communication officer. So this is just difference between doing things yourself or having a team of 10, 20 doing the same tasks. While going from classical PR to digital PR, for instance, you're going to learn a lot of new stuff, marketing KPIs, Google Analytics, a lot of software, different metrics. Going from PR to, you can go to content marketing if you decide that writing press releases, writing social media posts and blog posts and newsletters is something that you like. So you can go and do your content marketing agency, because content is still king, and a lot of startups, they are struggling to do content marketing they on their own, and they really need help. So this is why a lot of journalists, they switch to content marketing.
Mhm.
Like to do and they know how to do it, but still it's different between being a journalist and doing content marketing. That's why I think worst PRs are journalists.
Well, it's a good a good sentence in the end of the interview. And we had, because we had 2 interviews beforehand with people with a journalist background who went to marketing and PR. So, but yeah, well, I think it's a personal world, a human world, let's say it like that. So everything can happen. We have a bit of time, and we have like these short questions, of like quiz or short answer, one or the other option, overall topics. So I suggest us going back to that. And if you okay, and then we will ask the questions on the chat if there will be. So for you, what is closer, join a team or create your own team?
Join a team.
Okay, go global or act local?
Go global.
Okay, step by step or J curve?
Step by step.
Okay, great answer. A generalist or a specialist?
Specialist.
Okay, open space or separate rooms for space?
Oh, separate rooms. Separate rooms.
Yeah, also I understand that. So what was the last book that you've read and that you've remembered and can share?
Oh, I read now a lot about VC. So the last one was The Business of VC. Before that was the Sand Hill Road. All of them are
How you
really...
choose the books on VC? You're following the recommendations?
Yeah, I'm following the recommendations. I follow a lot of people on Twitter from VC, and sometimes they suggest different books. So I just pick one.
Twitter is one of the must-haves for PR these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Twitter is a must-have. Yeah.
Okay, and must use, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm still not on it, so I'm still figuring out if I need it or not, to read at least. Okay, and the last remarkable piece of news that you've heard and that you also remember? Any?
Jeff Bezos.
Okay. Well, yeah, we all heard of
Yeah.
that, and actually, you're the second speaker who is announcing again.
Yeah, I graduated from Samara State Aerospace University, so all things aerospace related, yeah, is definitely of interest to me.
Oh, that's great. And this is the question from the audience that there was: do you want to go and to do something outside your main activities? Probably aerospace.
I was thinking about that. Probably something biotech, but yeah, 10 years in education, it scares me a lot. So yeah, still
Something
considering
more,
that.
something more pragmatical, probably, right? But the same
Yeah,
interest.
yeah, maybe.
Okay, well, we will see.
Short courses on Coursera.
Yeah, well, but to do the courses on Coursera, you need lots of willingness, actually. I think that like 95% of the people are not finishing them up. So you will show the strong interest in something. Yeah, okay, so thank you very much for being here. I guess we will be like, we are coming to an end, and thanks for answering everything that I've got for you, and
absolutely.
The girls also commented on. And well, thanks the girls. We will have it here, and we have this initiative going on, and then we will also do it on YouTube. So everyone have a great evening.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.